We all know that learning an instrument requires daily practice, but a daily practice routine is what most learners, music students, and even professionals struggle with. So, what is the most efficient and effective way to learn piano, but also any kind of other instrument faster? In this video, we show you a strategic practice routine that you can implement so that you can experience piano practice as a rewarding and exciting experience. Welcome to WebPianoAcademy, the place where we discuss music and music-related topics, and where I give you tips and tricks to learn piano in a better and faster way. I'm Dr. Antonella Di Giulio, and I'm a pianist and music theorist. And in this channel, I provide you with research-based tools so you can implement in your practice. It is part of my desire and effort to bring high-quality information at zero cost to the community. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel in order to support me. Hit the bell notification so that you will be notified every time that a new video will come out. Everything we learn is at the center of our life experience. Whenever we learn something, we change our nervous system and we establish new pathways in our brain. And today, we're really going to focus on how we can strategically learn faster through a planned practice routine based on incremental learning. First of all, there's not such a thing as muscle memory. Muscles don't have memory. The control of our muscles is in our brain, and the patterns are stored in our neurons. So all those repetitive movements are stored at the base of our brain. Everything which is new has to be directed from the top of our brain and through repetitions and connections up to the base of our brain in order to become repetitive and reflexive. When a movement becomes reflexive, it means that a lot of the information about that specific action, about how to perform that movement, have been passed off to the lower part of our brain, and it is deeply ingrained. However, repeating patterns is not enough to really learn faster anything. Learning means that our brain has to go through struggles, mistakes, and frustration before acquiring a new information or learning a new skill. Making mistakes and trying to correct them is how we learn to perform better and to improve our capabilities. In order for learning to happen, we need our focus, and we need to go through that point of frustration. The second thing that we need is an incentive for learning. We have to be self-motivated, and that can be also just focusing on managing the new skill, on achieving a new goal. Especially as an adult, we have to implement something called incremental learning in order to improve our abilities. The key is to prioritize smaller chunks of focused learning for smaller bits of information. In order to learn something, we need to signal to our brain that at least one component has to change, that we are correcting a mistake. So in learning an instrument, we need to spend at least 7 to 30 minutes practicing the new skill. And that provided that we are experiencing a fully focused session.
So if we move our fingers on the piano in a passive way, we are not really practicing, we are just wasting our time on the piano, or maybe enjoying ourselves, but we are not really learning.
I would subdivide the practice routine into 5 different sections. The first section is to really start focusing and getting at the piano on the keyboard, and that might take 5 to 10 minutes. So in this time you can practice scales or technical exercises. In the second step, I would just focus on learning some technical skills, like practicing some etudes or really repeating some exercises. The third step would be to focus on a small section of a new piece, something new that I want to learn, something very difficult, sight reading something, or something that I know I cannot do and I want to do better. In the fourth step, I would just work on the piece, maybe adding some more sections or repeating what I have learned in the previous weeks. And the fifth step is just to enjoy my playing. So I might go ahead and review some old pieces, play better something, or improvise something at the piano. So your practice routine should be based on learning the new skills, correcting mistakes, and then enjoying the results. The process of correcting mistakes can be frustrating, but remember that this frustration releases the chemicals that will enhance our learning process. By telling ourselves that mistakes are good and going over failures and mistakes will bring us farther in what we are learning, we create that internal reward system in which our brain releases a substance called dopamine and let us feel good about ourselves and our own accomplishments. And now I will show you an example of how I personally practice. I usually write down in my practice journal what I'm practicing and how I'm practicing. For example, if the speed of the scales is with the metronome at 100 one day, the next day I try to improve the speed and go up to 102 or 103 and so on. And the same for the exercises. So start your practicing with a scale. Maybe a very simple one, just to warm up. And then maybe a little bit faster, and maybe a little bit faster, and maybe faster. Some technical exercises. Third step is to practice some etudes or some passages that you think should be improved. So if I would like to improve my arpeggios, I would practice something with arpeggios. If I want to improve my scales, I would practice some etudes with scales. For example, the Czerny etude of the Opus 299 number 1.
And maybe work with the metronome for a few minutes.
The third step is surely to work on one section of one piece you're practicing. So I will start practicing on one section only, and I will only focus on correcting one single mistake. I made a mistake, so I repeat and correct that mistake. And then I do it again, maybe just only that one major, that one transition. And one more time. And I repeat from the beginning then. And then I work again on this 4 majors. The fourth step is to practice one of the pieces you're working at. For example, if you're working on the Prelude in C minor by Bach, I would repeat that and then try to play that without mistakes and to check if I'm making any mistakes so that the next day I can correct them. Obviously, at this stage, I don't need to play that faster like it should be, but I will only focus on the mistakes I was making in the previous practice session. And at the end of my practice, I really enjoy playing whatever I like and whatever is in my repertoire that I want to review. As a final thought, I would suggest you to use a practice journal in order to write down what you have achieved during a week and to see your progresses over time. I will link an example of a practice journal in the description below. And then don't forget that music has to be experienced with all senses. So listen to music, read about music, learn music theory. Don't just sit at the piano and play. I hope you had fun with this video and that it was useful to you, and I hope you will watch the next videos on this channel. Bye!